This is too important. Don't change my words. The vast majority of the IDPs are Christians, driven from their homes by deliberate political engineering and radical conquest, while mostly Muslim IDP camps do exist. One of our schools serves an entirely Muslim population, several hundred children. Our team's fieldwork. Since 2019, our team has conducted relentless frontline research at great personal risk. We've interviewed survivors across multiple states. We've operated schools in 2 IDP camps for both Christians and Muslims, with a 3rd under construction, with a present total of 550 students. We provide free, high-quality education, and we get to hear their stories and their parents. In late 2024, my team visited and filmed in Goshen, in Gwoza, LGA, Borno State, a once thriving Christian farming community, now a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Recent 2025 attacks confirm ongoing devastation, with surviving Christians combined to militarized zones, relieving risks, abduction, or execution. Another aside, I was of course able to go there, but the team that did connected with a small group there that had a small church that sits in the protected zone. And it was not long afterwards we got sent around about a Boko Haram video with members of this church having their heads cut off with dull axes. Okay? Those were our friends. Our first-hand proof exposes a reality ignored by officials. Many people of Gwoza have been refugees in Cameroon for over a decade, abandoned by Nigeria, while those who return languish in the FCT, their homelands occupied by Boko Haram as the seat of its caliphate for years now. Consistent pattern of destruction. Across regions and years, we've documented a chilling pattern. Churches destroyed. In Gwoza, when they came in Goshen, all 6 churches were burned. No mosques were burned. Christian homes torched. Jihadists resettled in captured lands. Authorities deny or excuse the attacks. While some Muslims resisting extremism are targeted, absolutely, the peaceful Muslims are targeted. The overwhelming evidence, thousands of churches raised, obviously selective violence, leads some to claim this is a faith-based genocide against Christians and those rejecting radical Islam. That's what some claim. What drives this violence? This has come from the highest level and the deepest research. And there's 3 primary drivers. It's not chaos, but it's calculated. Very rarely lethal disputes. Now, villages are systematically razed, churches leveled, and tens of thousands are dead. This is a systematic terror and not grazing conflicts. A lie akin to calling Bosnia's ethnic cleansing a neighborhood spat. These targeted deadly attacks are the same whether labeled herders, bandits, or insurgents. The puppets may change, but the same forces pull the strings. A jihadi by any other name is just as deadly. Mincing words over labels appears to be intentional obfuscation. Now, at what level the people just say, that's what I was told, that's what was reported, and honest people can repeat things that are not accurate, that are not true. Again, not indicting anybody, but in many of these instances, I would, if you're told it's a farmer-herder clash, I would compel you to dig deeper. While global attention often focuses on Boko Haram and ISWAP, the majority of killings and displacements across the Middle Belt are in fact carried out by radical Islamist Fulani militia. Numerous field reports, satellite imagery, survivor testimonies confirm that these militant groups, often operating under political protection and mislabeled as herders, are responsible for the most widespread, systematic, and sustained attacks on Christian farming communities. Their campaigns extend well beyond traditional grazing disputes, encompassing organized massacres, forced displacement, and the strategic occupation of conquered lands. Today, these militias represent the single most lethal terrorist threat in Nigeria's internal stability, surpassing Boko Haram and ISWAP combined, and reach frequency and civilian death toll. The crime of obfuscation. I have personally seen ongoing efforts by officials and their loyal media to bury the truth, sanitizing massacres as conflict, labeling displaced survivors, vagrants, and criminals, refusing to name perpetrators. This is not confusion, it's complicity. To play semantic games while people die is beyond obscene. There can be no solution while leaders play word games to hide the truth. And again, I'm not saying that everybody that repeats these things are doing it intentionally whatsoever, but at some level, there is a lot of manipulation taking place to hide the truth. So let's get to the conclusion, because this is where it's important, because there is a legal definition of genocide. That's the question here. And it's not a vague thing. You don't want it to be or not to be. And I did not start with my conclusion. I started with the evidence. Per Article 2 of the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, 1948, genocide includes acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. It includes killing members of the group, causing seriously bodily or mental harm, inflicting conditions to bring about physical destruction, preventing births within the group, forcibly transferring children to another group. This is the legal, international, understanding definition of genocide. The evidence is undeniable. Targeted killings, mass displacement, destruction of homes, violence and displacement in northern and middle belt Nigeria does indeed constitute a calculated, current, and long-running genocide against Christian communities and other religious minorities without any reasonable doubt. To continue to deny this is to be complicit with these atrocities. I say this not in anger, but in truth and grief. My stated assignment from my host was to speak the truth, and I have done that to the best of my ability. I believe Nigeria has a bright future. I believe in Christian-Muslim harmony. I believe good people of every tribe and faith and party must stand against this evil, but first we must name it. Here I stand. I can do no other, so help me God.
That's all? That's the end?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just before we go into that, I'll give the floor to the Secretary General of GNI to respond. But I just need to state that the accusation by Senator Ted Cruz was that the Nigerian government was facilitating genocide against Christians. And that is not true. What you have read does not justify that, or does not indicate that, or does not indicate that. While these actors, Boko Haram, which you have admitted here, was instigated by the Obama administration, and correct me if I'm wrong, you did say that, right?
They were facilitated by policies.
By policies by the Obama administration, and they came here, and in these areas that you talk about, they unleashed violence against Christians. These people are in no way, shape, or form linked to the Nigerian government. Also, and this is very important to add, a U.S. senator, a serving U.S. senator, did say, now this is in addition to what you have said, that, and I don't have any means of verifying this, I'm just repeating what he said, that the United States government under Obama was funding Boko Haram. If you have actually seen a video of the senator saying that, can I say a show of hands? You saw the video yourself?
Yes. So, senator or congressman?
No, the senator, not the congressman, the senator. I think I can find his name for you. And so the thing is, if Senator Ted Cruz feels this way, then you've made the job very easy for him. There's a continuity of government in America. If this was instigated by the Obama administration, then Senator Ted Cruz is wrong to point fingers at the Nigerian government and say that the Nigerian government is facilitating these things. Senator Ted Cruz should be bold enough to face what was the word you used? Unleashed? The unleashers and the instigators and the funders. And at this stage, I'll pass the mic on to the Secretary General of GNI. Like for the journalists here present, please do not misunderstand this. They have met with CAN And Khan could not be here because they had prior engagements. They met with them. There was no delay. There was no rush. I did not intervene. This was a fact-finding mission that was like a fly on the wall. And so they would have been here, but for the fact that they had prior engagements. So I'll hand over the microphone to the Secretary General of GNI.
Well, thank you, Reno. Well, thanking you, Mike Arnold and your colleague, ladies and gentlemen on the other side. I think the world needs this kind of bold step in order to investigate the truth. Narratives can be created, and positively or negatively. And that it sounds really very strange for such unverified claim that there is genocide, Christian genocide in Nigeria. We are Nigerians, and we live within the challenges of insecurity, where all over the world things are really happening. And I think it is really very dangerous to change the paradigm and the narrative from the act of criminality and identify it with ethnic nationality or religious inclination. This is really very dangerous. And I think the earlier we understand, the better. That act of criminality, the perpetrator of it is a criminal. It doesn't matter lumping a baseless claim onto certain people. That does not hold water. And the whole world, whether white man or black man, African, Asian, American or European, a criminal is a criminal, and a crime is a crime until a crime is being seen and viewed this way. In our laws, it is like that. I don't think when we go to the court, you are asked about your ethnic nationality or religion. It's the act perpetrated that is being investigated. And I think this claim is intended to create bad blood and to further extend the challenges we are passing through in this country. And I think there may be a sinister motive behind such claims in order to really draw us back from going out of the quagmire we are passing through. It is indeed really very important. Muslims are killed, Christians are also killed. And I wonder on the other side, if you look at the Northwest, the really mind-boggling and a troublesome massacre in the mosque, then what do you call that? Worshippers in the mosque, in the morning or evening prayers, the kidnapping, the maiming, the rustling, cattle rustling, and the brigandage, all these things that are happening. Why do we look at just one aspect and we look at this? And I think you cannot summarize just something, a communal crisis that has been in decades, and this is the world over. Now trying to zoom it or to peg it or to drag it and just summarize it to just one little thing. Everywhere in South, Southwest, crisis in Southwest, there's crisis in the North Central, the South, East, and then the Southwest, and so on and so forth. Therefore, I think the earlier we understand this, the better, and I think our journalists can help our country manage its own. Let us investigate and let us be truthful. That is why elsewhere, journalism is a very serious profession. Very serious. It's a profession of honor. But the way you see journalism today is a matter of really very serious concern. And I think because we throw the ethics away, and that's why things are happening. And I want, during the time of Obama, And the troubling problem is that the US government allows windows for our Christian brethren in this country to be there. Originally, Jaffa was there during Obama and made such unverified claims. And when we seek to go there, then they said there was American shutdown. Okay, American shutdown, originally Jaffa was allowed. And one non-top challenge of Christians in this country just went, I think, was it last year?
I have a question for you, Reno. Has there been a genocide in Nigeria in recent years?
I'll respond to that, but so that we don't hijack this, because like it's now for Q&A, I'm going to respond to that. There has been no genocide in Nigeria facilitated by the Nigerian government.
That's not part of the definition. It's not part. I didn't include that.
No. You asked me a question.
Yeah, so has there been genocide? Has there been genocide?
Allow me respond to the question. Don't put words in my mouth just as I did not put.
Reading your
No, hang on. Don't put words in my mouth just as I did not put words in your own mouth. There is no genocide in Nigeria at all. That's what I believe. There is no genocide, and I come with facts. Now, a genocide is when you have a deliberate act of policy by a state actor or by people who are connected to state actors against a particular ethnicity, against a particular religion. For example, in the Darfur region of formerly Sudan, I believe it's now in South Sudan, what happened could be termed as a genocide. However, in Nigeria, and thank God you said it with your own mouth, due to policies unleashed by the Obama administration, we had these people come here. And when they came here, we are fighting them, we're doing the best that we can. So, I think at a point in 2011, which you mentioned, there were several local governments that were under Boko Haram control. No, please, let me, I don't want anybody to put my mouth. I want to be the one to say, I don't want to be coerced. Because I want to be as balanced as possible. There were several local governments. Now, I'll also say this, you have court cases all over the world. A court case is a case that you could not solve and it went dead. This administration came in and they've taken court cases. One of the court cases was, if you remember, in 2022 there was a church bomb blast at a Catholic church. I believe the name was, I might be wrong, but I think it's St. Francis in Owo. The people who have done that, they are being persecuted today. Some of you have your phones here. Can you just fact check me? Just go on Google. So, I mean, how can you call that when you're even bringing cold cases, not just even the present case, cold cases, So, the people who were behind Yellwater, they've been arrested. Now, the thing is, if you bring emotions into this, particularly when you are a Christian or you are a Muslim and then you allow those things to move you, that's when you begin to say things like, okay, there was impunity. There is no impunity in Nigeria. But Nigeria was overwhelmed by, again, thank God that it was coming from the mouth of an American, by policies unleashed by the American government. We did not have an army, a police, or special forces that was trained for this kind of thing because we'd never experienced it. In terms of peacekeeping, Nigeria went to Congo in the 50s, late 50s. We went to, the reason why Tanzania is still a country today is because of Nigerian troops in 1964. Colonel Palm went there. The president at that time, Umali Mujiba, was always by him. He was afraid of his own people. Nigerian forces stabilized Tanzania, and eventually Tanzania had to unite with Zanzibar and formed Tanganyika, and then they formed Tanzania. Going back, we were in Lebanon. The reason why there's peace in Sierra Leone and Liberia is because of Nigeria. So we had an army that is good in conventional warfare because that's what we have always experienced. We never experienced all of this terrorism until the United States intervened and unleashed all of this and put it on our doorstep. We never. And then, so we need to understand this. Saying that there is genocide, I mean, it is against common sense. Why do I say this? In Nigeria, we got 4 service chiefs. We got the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and Inspector General of Police. 3 out of the 4 are Christians. I'm going to name them. The Chief of Army Staff. Oloyede, General Oloyede, is a Christian. Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, a Christian. Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ikechukwu Emmanuel Ogala, a Christian. Only the Chief of Air Staff is a Muslim. I mean, if I were a Muslim, I would say that some 8,000, close to 30,000 people are murdered. Disproportionately, they are black people. Can we in Nigeria now start to use our media power and say there is a genocide against black people in America? Then that is the same thing as coming to say that there is a genocide against Christians here and that it is being facilitated by the Nigerian state. It is not true. But if you think it is true, don't just come and just make accusations. Name names. Name names. Name them and shame them. Name names. You named Obama. Name the Nigerian. You named Obama. Name the Nigerian. Don't mention a name that this is a person. Mention a name. In this country, we had a policeman dismissed because a terror suspect escaped under his watch. I can name his name if you want. He was dismissed because a terror suspect, and guess what? That terror suspect was later rearrested. Today he's serving a life sentence in prison. His name is Kabiru Sokoto. Nice. The policeman that was dismissed, I don't want to mention his name because I don't want, it's unethical to do so. Wow. But if you want, if you're a journalist, I mean, I don't have to mention his name. Some of you have your phones here. Go on Google and you can find out his name. But it's unethical for me to mention that. So in Nigeria, what happens in many parts of America, like what happened with George, well, it cannot happen here. We had a situation whereby we had some policemen that were like that. What happened? The president at that time disbanded FSARs. The people who killed Mohammed Yusuf, they were arrested, tried. So we have to go by facts, not by emotions. There's no, look, if there is what might seem like impunity in Nigeria, it's just because we were not ready for this.
The distance, across the seas, across the ocean, and you've made that tremendous effort. We appreciate you. Brother Dino Melaye, we can't thank you enough. Dino, educated so many of us. Reno, sorry. Reno Omokri, you have educated so many of us. I am among your students whom you have educated, particularly today. We appreciate you. You've always been objective. You also, Reno Omokri, also informed us.
I will stop wearing this so that people will stop making that mistake. Yes, sir.
Also informed us of the giant efforts of the Nigerian government. And they've been able to stem the tide of killings over time. And it's been restricted to certain areas. Otherwise, it will have spread, across Nigeria. GNI Secretary, Professor Khalid, also made us realize that the killings were not restricted, were not lopsided. It wasn't Christians alone that were being killed. Muslims are still being killed. And as this happens, there is no genocide. My question is, since we've been informed by Reno Omokri that at a point in time, it was the U.S. government that started Boko Haram.
Actually, the mayor said that.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say it started Boko Haram. No, not at all.
What did he say?
I'll tell you exactly what
If you didn't say that,
no,
we saw the video clip. We saw the story.
I said unleashed.
Unleashed. Okay.
Unleashed. Ignited.
Yeah. By withdrawing military support at the most critical time.
The video clips in our possession is that the U.S. government used certain people, certain elements to start terror groups in certain parts of the world. And it included Al-Qaeda, It included Boko Haram. My question is, since the Nigerian government has boldly confronted terrorism, and it is succeeding to a large extent, those who started terrorism or those who actually sponsored them, will they be happy with the Nigerian government that is stopping Boko Haram, that is stopping the war, that is stopping the killings? Of course, with this kind of style, you can't stop it in a day. It takes time. So my question is it possible for those who started something to be happy that it is being stopped? And therefore, if they can raise the issue of genocide, genocidal killings, in order to impose sanctions on the country, Nigeria, will they not succeed in the sponsorship of terrorism in the first place? Could they have been happy with Nigeria for its ability to stop or to at least retard terrorism? That is my question.
Thank you very much. And I don't advocate. America and Nigeria aren't that different in this regard. The difference between Goodluck Jonathan and his policies and his posture, and Buhari and Tinubu, they're all very different agendas, very different direction. The same is true in the United States. We have different administrations. Obama was not a good person. A lot of nefarious stuff, a lot of bad stuff, including what happened here. Our current president has ended 8 wars and brought peace to the Middle East. I believe that he would be happy to help, not hurt, but if reached out to, I believe that the might of the U.S. could be done in a very positive way, not in meddling, not in extracting or anything. But yeah, I believe America, in the history of the world, we have our problems. A lot of dark spots, but you can't imagine a world without America. It's been the most benevolent nation on earth, and if there was a wrong created by an arch rival of his who has persecuted Donald Trump and all that, I am pretty certain that President Trump would be very amenable to providing all the assistance that Nigeria needs, and Nigeria asks for it. That's the thing. Again, I don't represent the government, but I can see what he's been bringing peace. That's his mission, and he could probably help here. But the quibbling over words and stuff is not helpful. Let me. One thing I unearthed and included, and it's very consistent. It's very well documented, and it continues to happen to this day. When whoever the terrorist group is, whatever faction it is, the general methodology, when they put a roadblock, they'll pull the bus out, they'll pull out everybody in the bus, they'll separate it, Christians, Muslims, men and women. They summarily kill the Christian men. They go to the Muslim men and give them the option, join or die. And then they sell the women into slavery. That's the methodology, whether it's a village or anywhere else. The point being, there are, like you said, there are victims on both sides. And the way forward is to stand on the truth together and fight those that would kill us if we don't follow them. Christians and Muslims have a common enemy. There's no reason there should be quibbling. It should bring unity to this country to fight a common enemy and not fight each other. But again, I believe the U.S. government would be happy to help if the Nigerian government would step forward and ask them for help.
Okay, so that's the last question. So I'll just respond to the aspects that touch on me, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm going to be quoting from the 2015 GTI, which is the Global Terror Index. In 2015, Nigeria was ranked at first among countries experiencing the largest increase in terrorism-related deaths, with fatalities rising by over 300% to 7,512 deaths. This is 2015, 10 years ago. Now, let's fast forward, and I'm going to quote from the 2025 GTI. Now again, remember this is a Western organization, has nothing to do with Nigeria. Nigeria is ranked 6th in the 2025 Global Terror Index, a decrease. We had 7,512. And again, this is not from me or anybody or the mayor or anybody in Nigeria. This is from a global institute that does scientific data. 7,512. 7,512. You guys heard that, right? And then in 2025, 565. Now, even one death is too bad. But if you have a situation whereby you now, after 10 years, you're recording less than 10% of the deaths that you used to have, wouldn't you call that progress? So, gentlemen, thank you for honoring our invitation. May God bless you, and I wish you safe journeys to your respective destination. Thank you very much. This press conference is closed. Thank you.